Enscape will let us quickly create different types of view from our 3D views with their sun settings in Revit. So if we look at the view that was for 8 a.m., what we can do is we can look at it and produce something called a light view. So if we load the project with the environment set to light view, what you're seeing is a measure of lumens on the surface inside of the room. So as the time of day changed, you would see the different light levels measured on surfaces. It's a dynamic interface, so it's updating as I turn the model and show different parts of the project, or I walk forward or turn and look down the corridor at 8 a.m. in the morning. I can see how far down the corridor the light extends, and I can get an indication of what level of lumens there are there. So if I close that, this is just temporarily closing the Enscape, and I go to the visual settings. It's under the atmosphere there, where it says light view. If I change that to white, this is another way now of looking at the Enscape view and seeing it kind of like a paper model, or a model where all the materials are just white. And I can turn that around with my left mouse button, just looking around to see what the interior looks like at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a bit clearer because I don't have all the different materials. The other thing I could do here is I could actually export those views as a panorama. So if I click on the option that says render panorama, it'll use the camera that I've got in my model at the position that it's at in the Enscape view. And when I generate that panorama, it makes multiple images and then stitches them together to give me one interactive view where the user can kind of turn around their viewpoint, if you want, so that they can see and look at, under their control, any part of that 3D panorama view. So that's not edited, that's it actually saving it and producing the view. So the nice thing about this is that from that view you can produce like a barcode, so you could put that inside a document if you wanted people to be able to scan the barcode and go to that view, or you could save the path and send it to somebody's phone so that they could click on it and look at the file. Because the file, as you see, if I go manage updates, the file can be saved on the cloud, right? So if I pick the panorama I've just created, that's letting me just turn my head to look at the interior of the building. If I click on the cloud symbol, that's me actually saving it on the cloud, which means that it's accessible to anybody that has access to the internet, if you give them the information that they need to get to it. And like I mentioned, if you use the option that was copy the link address, for example, I could, paste that into a document and send it to somebody, or I could send it to somebody's email so that they can click on that link and it will take them straight to that view. So if I clicked on it, what it's actually doing is accessing that 3D panorama view to let them, look at the lighting conditions at 8 a.m. in the morning inside that apartment unit and interact with it so that they can decide exactly what they're looking at.